outing as far as the French Open he would have wanted. Spaniard Rafael Nadal has exited from the French Open in the very first week, in the very first round itself. You were sort of looking at this as a tough start for him, because remember, he's not played for about a year and a half now. He's been fighting a lot of injuries, and as a result of that, the unseeded Spaniard got to face world number 4 Alexander Zverev in the first round itself, and in 3 straight sets he has crashed out of the French Open. When you look at that match, when you look at that scoreline, that's not to tell you how great a player Rafael Nadal has been. 14-time champion, remember, as far as the French Open is concerned. 22 titles overall in the Open era. For somebody who has been in dwindling form, let's say, because he's only played in 4 matches since the time, since 2022. It's just been injury after injury for him, rehab after rehab. It started with a hip injury, then led to a muscle tear, and it's been, a tough last 18 months for Rafael Nadal. Has he announced his retirement yet? No. He remains hopeful of playing one more time, but even though if it is to be his last match, then he said, when he did address everyone after the match got over, that he will have no regrets and that he enjoyed today as well, having the utmost respect for his opponent on the day. By the way, credit to Zverev as well, who did not burst into celebration after a crucial victory against a certain Rafael Nadal. He too realized that he wasn't facing a Nadal who was on the who was at the peak of his powers anymore. But 14-time champion and just the 4th loss for him. Imagine, such has been the longevity, such has been the greatness of this man on clay, that he's only lost his 4th match in his long career at Roland Garros. Of course, the first one coming back in the year 2009, but since then only 3 more losses for him here at the French Open. So that's been Rafael Nadal for you. But how did he perform on the day? It wasn't to be an ideal outing for him today, because he wasn't at his best. Not in terms of his court coverage, neither in terms of his accuracy. Everything went wayward. First set, in fact, losing it 6-3. The second set, though, he didn't manage to break. He didn't manage to have put some sort of a fight back, only for him to take that particular set into the tiebreaker, which also he then lost. And then in the third set again, he'd almost sort of given up, and you could see the shots going wide as well. A lot of unforced errors from the Spaniard, and he's now, as a result, lost the first round tie that he had against a certain Alexander Zverev, who is touted to be one of the favorites, remember, for this edition of the French Open. What happens in the French Open remains to be seen, but there is a lot to be talked about, the legacy of Rafael Nadal. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut this live short, but we'll be back with you in a short while as we talk about the legacy of the Spaniard. He does want to be staying for more. He does want to be wanting to play for a longer duration. He talked about the Olympics as well, about him wanting to play at the Olympics, which obviously starts in just about 60 days time. So all of that, we'll be talking to you about that in a short while. But in case you're joining us right now, let me quickly update you with what happened. First round, Rafael Nadal has exited. He was up against a tough opponent in Alexander Zverev, who's world number 4 right now, and in 3 straight sets he has lost that particular match. So nothing happening as far as this edition of the French Open for Rafael Nadal is concerned, but just the 4th loss. That's Rafael Nadal for you at the French Open. I'll take your leave for now, but coming back with more on the Rafael Nadal record on this particular particular surface that he's loved playing on, and otherwise as well. We'll talk about his legacy when we come back.